detail, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Why the subject of ethics remains a key talking point. There are many ethical concerns about how the coronavirus is being handled when it comes to workers inside of the United States. Multiple headlines have made national news about workers voicing their opinions about working conditions. What's inside the fight to defeat the coronavirus. Big headline. A Florida scientist was reportedly let go from her job for refusing to manipulate COVID-19 data. The report goes in detail about how she wasn't paid for 16 hours of labor to compile the data and how she believes she will never be paid. Big story. Igor Kolomowski, a big-time billionaire, is under federal investigation for reportedly funneling money from a bank in Ukraine into multiple properties inside of the United States. They're also trying to connect him to some politicians as well. Texas man is being charged with trying to illegally get $5 million in SBA loans. The man reportedly falsely claimed to have 400 employees that he got from a random name generator found on the internet. And he submitted these names to try and get SBA loans given to assist businesses as they battle financially through lockdowns. Big headline. Cheerleading coaches for the Kentucky Wildcats are out of a job after claims of hazing and nudity investigations. Big story centers around ethics and the talking point. One report claims that a decline in truth-telling is making it hard for Americans to recover from the coronavirus. People are lying about things out there and it's starting to circulate. One report claims that the average American should be on guard when it comes to protecting their personal data. The article says that on average, personal data is stolen at least 4 times a year. So guard your data and make sure you keep an eye on what you're putting in and punching in, if that website is secure or not. Woman behind Roe versus Wade says she was paid off by anti-abortion groups to form her opinion in Roe versus Wade. So you can see story number 1 doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. That's why it made it in this week. Story number 2. There's something brewing in the science and religious category. Now, many church leaders want revival, but some don't see the importance of religion until something morally goes wrong. Now, that includes the whole crowd. Now, this topic highlights stories that continue to surface as the coronavirus continues to affect religious communities all around the globe. A lot of people feel empty without participating in regular worship services, which always begs the question of why people believe there is a God. It's still a mystery why some don't. According to Popular Mechanics, scientists have made a mouse that is 4% human. As the field of science continues to advance, many say they've gone too far in some categories and may be to blame for altering the course of human natural selection in nature. Big headline. Now, some even believe that some science discoveries will be the downfall of the human species, while many still remain optimistic about scientific discoveries. It's a seesaw battle. There are a lot of different views regarding this topic, as you can see. A Pennsylvania man dosed a 4-year-old boy with gasoline, claiming he was trying to burn him because he was trying to get the demon out of him. Sad story. That's a very sad story. But cases like these emerge all the time in the field of psychology, where people claim that they're seeing demons, and it all ties into science and religion and how people are being taught. Very big headline. A big discussion. Even during the fight to stop the coronavirus, scientists are still searching for dark matter deep beneath the mountains of Italy. some people, there's always somebody saying that this is causing a problem with the Earth's magnetic field. There's all types of assumptions, but they continue to have research in other countries, scientific research, and that's why story number 2, such a big story. That's why I made it in this week. Story number 3. What moves are Democrats and Republicans making in the next election? Report in Vice focuses on how Republicans plan to recruit 50,000 volunteers in 15 states to basically watch polling activity. The article almost compares it to a surveillance state. The article also claims Republicans are putting up $20 million to fund such a program. This is the case as each party has its gripes about the voting system. The Republicans gripe about uninformed voting and talk about how Democrats take advantage of such voters, while the Democrats gripe about voter suppression and how many Republicans seek to eliminate some voters who seem totally disconnected from reality. Big headline. Democrats may be eyeing health care as their headline issue to remind able-bodied Americans that there is still an election. So they may be using that as a key talking point. The coronavirus may have Republicans on defense because of the way it has crippled the economy. So there's a seesaw battle going on in story number 3. Many Republicans see light at the end of the tunnel, even with the coronavirus, and even as Democrats smell blood in the way that the Republicans have handled the coronavirus saga. Poll by USA Today shows Biden leading Trump in some key states. There's a lot at stake in this next election, and many voters want a candidate that has a solid plan for health care, the country's economy, and the future of America's workforce. So there's a lot going on inside of story number 3. One article says that Trump will appeal to workers who are out of a job. The article also homes in on how Trump's talk about creating jobs and his impact on the economy may appeal to voters looking for a job and economic help. So this may be something that Trump can bite off of as we get closer and closer to the election, or people who are out of work. He may be able to strike a deal here to get these people back on the workroom floor. It seems that the next election will be decided by who has a better vision for the future of the United States, according to some headlines. So keep an eye on story number 3. Very big story, and that's why it made into the top 8 this week. Story number 4. The coronavirus has hit the business world pretty hard. A survey by Facebook says that many businesses don't plan on rehiring their workers, and many have had to permanently close because they couldn't pay the bills, and many don't feel optimistic about the future at all. Big story centering around story number 4, how coronavirus has hit the business sector. While many businesses continue to suffer, get this includes small businesses that didn't even have a chance. They didn't stand a chance in lockdowns. Walmart reportedly saw its revenue grow by $10.7 billion. Walmart online sales grew 74%. Now let me emphasize that Walmart was not forced to close down completely in many states. Many stores remained open even in the coronavirus as it continued to spread, and many stores had to close. Many small businesses, and they're still suffering. Some of them are completely out of business, while Walmart, who already has been seeing profits, flourished. That's why the story number 4 is such a big story. JCPenney and Pier 1 Imports are just 2 of a long list of store chains in decline and standing in the bankruptcy lines. Story number 4 is just one of those stories that you really have to pay attention to, because it could start, the ripple effect could affect your community very soon. Underground barbershops and hair salons, some in people's houses, reportedly made a name for themselves, while other legit barbershops and salons were forced to close. The underground market is still booming in some states, according to a report by USA Today. The question of how many businesses actually made money underground remains unknown. Retail sales took a 16% plunge in April due to lockdowns. The retail sector was already struggling. I have to remind you that. That's why story number 4 made it in this week. There's a lot of big talk going on in business circles about the future of how pandemics are handled and how to survive when you face something on this big of a scale. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. Whew. I'll be right back. Mediation can be tough, but somebody's got to do it. I'll be right back with the top 4 international news stories that made it in this week. Don't go anywhere. You're in the Mediator. Me, Brian West. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now let's get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. Let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 5. The future of America's workforce is under the spotlight. Some people have turned to radio to voice their opinions about America's workforce. It turns out that they feel that too many people are milking the system because of government programs that enable them to milk the system. This topic shows a big divide in America's workforce and those not on the payroll, those who want to work or may want to work but just can't find a job. Some say America cannot compete with other nations because we have developed into a softer culture. And even if jobs did come back, some say that America's new workforce wouldn't be able to keep up compared to the old school. This is becoming a big debate in some circles. A New York doctor, James Mahoney, who reportedly put off his retirement to help fight the coronavirus, has died, according to a report by Fox News. So this man gave his life fighting for what he believed in and doing what he probably loved to do, which is being on the job. In a plea to get laid off Americans to go back to work, Mnuchin says that employees who refuse to go back to work will be ineligible for unemployment benefits if they can go back to work. Big headline. Many workers are still struggling with jobless claims. And get this, unemployment reportedly pushed out $48 billion last month. That's a lot of money. Bloomberg reports that pay cuts are coming for thousands of COVID-19 heroes. That's not good news, and that's why story number 5 made it to the top 4 stories this week. Big headline. Story number 6. Most economists don't want a trade war with China. Now, the deck is stacked when it comes to the United States and China, and many economists want Trump to back down from trade war talks because the world is in even worse shape than it was before with the coronavirus. The ripple effect could be catastrophic and could even get worse, according to some economists, if Trump continues to push these trade wars. Another headline, U.S. to hit Huawei with tighter chip export rules because the U.S. now sees Huawei as a security threat. And they're saying that there's still speculation that the Chinese government is using Huawei technology to spy on the U.S. Big headline that centers in around this trade talk with China and how this feud continues to escalate, but economists don't feel it's right compared to in the situation that we're in. So story number 6, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. That's why it almost made it to the top 2 this week. Story number 7, and the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. The gap between the rich, poor, and middle class got even wider with COVID-19. Doesn't seem to be letting up. Prince Charles has called on laid off workers in Britain to work on the farms and help pick crops. He compares it to the World War II days. This shows that the labor is needed in some areas, but there seems to be a divide and disconnect between the poor, middle class, and the wealthy. Another headline, Jeff Bezos is on course to be the world's first trillionaire, and some reports center around how many executives are banking in billions, while many poor people and middle class citizens continue to suffer financially, especially in the midst of the coronavirus. The ongoing war with the 99% and the 1% and the money grabs continues. Story number 8 in the top international headline and developing news stories that made it in this week. Big one. Assessing the government's economic strategy before and during COVID-19 will be a big topic in the upcoming weeks. There's a lot of speculation around the American response to COVID-19. Many feel that because America was founded in a rebellious fashion, that the response to COVID-19 shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Intellectuals and academics remain very, very upset with the response to this disease and blame it on lack of leadership, American individualism, and blatantly the lack of a plan. So you can see why story number 8 is such a big story this week. Many on the Trump team, they remain optimistic about the economic recovery, as many other people remain pessimistic. So there's a lot going on inside of this top story this week, and it really, really centers around the economy, the coronavirus, and what people are thinking. Workers plan on striking amid coronavirus working conditions. Now, this is a another big headline, a big talking point on why, and the reason why story number 8 made it to the top. Some refuse to go back to work or even stay on the job because they feel that the coronavirus has not been handled properly, and they feel that those who have contracted COVID-19 on the job, many want proper and better working conditions before they go back on the job. The report even has brought OSHA into the discussion, and it has emphasized on how they have not used their power that they were given, that was assigned to them to handle what's going on inside the story. Big talking point and a big discussion going on inside of story number 8. Some states see a rise in COVID-19 cases as states reopen, but there is still not enough data yet to see the big picture as states reopen, to see the effects, or if there's an increase of cases going on. Many survivors don't feel states should reopen so soon, but some don't have a choice, as this talking point remains evident. Oversight Commissions has found that $500 billion in funds meant to assist businesses with the recovery has barely lent out any money. So a lot going on inside of story number 8, and that's why it's at the top. And the saga just continues. Mark Cuban feels that PPP didn't work. He feels like the plans put in place in some situations didn't work the way that they should. Study in the BBC says that coronavirus could cost the global economy $8.8 trillion. Another poll shows that some states let up on social distancing guidelines as they reopen in that quick of a time. So story number 8 is just stirring the pot in a lot of scenarios. 2 more headlines that made it in. A story in USA Today talks about how rural communities have had to suffer without hospitals, and they've been having a hard time containing the coronavirus. They've battled with a rise in cases and deaths on a daily basis, and they feel like they've been left out in some scenarios. Trump wants a vaccine for coronavirus by the end of the year, if possible. And as you can see, headed into Memorial Day, a lot of these stories are surfacing about how even veterans have been affected mentally, and there's a lot going on inside of story number 8, and that's why I made it to the top this week. You can see there's a lot going on inside these stories. Well, I hope you all have a good holiday tomorrow. Those are our top 8 headlines and developing news stories. If you're watching on YouTube, it's today. As usual, I thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank all the news outlets, the journalists, and the people on the front lines that keep us informed. You deserve all the credit. I'm just a mediator. If you want to show us some support, you can always go to our website, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Have a good holiday on Memorial Day. Have a good week. Be safe. And thank you so much for tuning into The Mediator with me, Brian West. I'm out of here. Peace.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. It goes to the website. It's method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.